We are back with potentially our final game. I say potentially, we have been, it's safe to say, shredding into Gambit after a one-way affair over on Train. And now we do, of course, fall to Cash. You can see us in that corner. Oh, it's coming over to us. Hello, how you doing? Welcome to the analyst desk. I've been your host, Alex Machine Richardson. I'm joined. Okay, vocabulary is descending into madness. I have Thorin, YNK, and DDK. If we slow it all down, it does still make total sense. Cash, guys, Gambit, Fnatic. We've painted a pretty poor picture of Gambit after Train. We kind of gave them chances in the pre-match.
We didn't do it, Fnatic did it.
You want some good news, though?
Hit me.
This is actually Gambit's best map. You want some bad news?
Yeah.
It's also Fnatic's best map, and Gambit lost to Complexity on it.
I'm pretty sure I've seen you in a Complexity shirt, Duncan.
Exactly. That's what they did to me. I've got PTSD even thinking about that right now.
So this is what Gambit have done to you.
Fnatic's going to do to Gambit what Gambit did to me.
Holding the grudge a little bit. But yeah, you're right. It does seem like this normally is where we sit there and we identify, the strengths of one. We look for perhaps the potential weaknesses that could be exploited in the other. But Janko, is it almost redundant in this situation, or was that just like if we actually just forget about Train, is this still a discussion a serious discussion we can have about these two teams?
I feel it's always redundant talking about Fnatic on the analyst desk because it always evolves around the same thing. First, you have to make them respect you until you can play some real Counter-Strike against them, because you saw it in that previous map as well. There are a lot of messy situations where you think, oh, this looks really good for Gambit. They have a man or a two-man advantage, and then Fnatic, by great team play, great individual skill, they managed to bring it back into the fold.
Now, I think what's worth discussing surrounding Fnatic is we always talk about their strengths lying as individuals. Especially since the absence and departure of legendary in-game leader Pronax, even more so we've leaned towards the fact that they're very unpredictable. My question to you then is, how do teams like SK, who already secured that semi-final spot, how do these great teams, these legendary teams, anti-strat them? Like, how do you prepare to go into a game against Fnatic? And as soon as those words come out of my mouth, Dan, you look like you're ready to talk.
Well, this is a bit of the reason why Fnatic are a bit of a phenom in that sense, because they've sort of broken the convention, which is if you're a team that's heavily based around individuals, then you're inherently inconsistent in some way. The results, they shouldn't really be inconsistent, because it can, you live by the sword and die by the sword, which is the individual skill, right? And usually that fluctuates from event to event. We've seen it happen to all teams, but this is the thing with Fnatic, that they've always had periods where one of their players is one of the best or the best player in the world at some spot or another, and they have broken this. I don't think any other team has done it in the way that they have, and that's a formula that you can't really easily solve. That's one of the reasons why they've had so much success, and it's largely unquantifiable, I think.
Same kind of sentiments from you, Duncan?
Yeah, I think that's certainly the difficulty in playing them. I will say, because Gambit is a good Cash team, Gambit has actually the old school classic approach to playing the T side of maps, which actually goes back all through the history of Counter-Strike, which is you take a very slow approach, you set up, you don't even necessarily want to attack immediately, even if there was an opening. You're going to wait, you're going to take aim duels, you're going to slowly work your way through the corners and areas of the map. That's why a guy like Dosia fits right in there. He wants to go very slowly anyway. Now, in theory, if you're playing against a team that's going to play very individualistically and randomly peek and push up on CT side, that's actually a very good style to have, because you're going to comfortably move through parts of the map, and as they peek up on you, you should have the jump on them. You should be waiting for them, you should be ready for them, and you're not going to suddenly be caught with a flash in your hand when he comes out, which is usually like the JW special, he upsets the initial tactic. The problem is, on top of doing that aggressive style, the Fnatic players are also incredibly skilled, and so unfortunately that's what will demoralize you, is if they get you that one or two times when you had the jump on them, then do you play more passively? Well, that plays even more into their hands, they take more back. Do you rush at that point in time? You're outside of your comfort zone, so it's not like it's impossible. Gambit, the good thing about them is they do have single map upset potential. This is one where, again, they have a chance. It's just that there's a reason why, unfortunately, Gambit so far have never really had the big best-of-3 win. It's because when they tend to play these top-level teams, they are lacking something, I think.
And just the closing thoughts then from you, Janko. Gambit, yes, we've painted them as the underdog, but it's just got to you've got to wonder, doesn't Fnatic, in this situation now where they can just run at you, get up in your grill, does that mean Gambit will change?
Don't ever say grill again, please.
Get up in your grill as the most British accent I can. Okay.
Let's call it
Mummy,
British.
Gambit are going to get up in your grill.
My final thoughts, I was trying to ask you, Janko, you look so thrown by that. I wanted to ask, with Fnatic, right, at this point in time, I've completely lost my question. It was something about along the lines of...
Getting up in the grill.
Yeah, getting up in the grill. Gambit, right? Do you play differently because you're against a crazy, manic Swedish side? Just give me a yes or a no. That was the dumbest question ever. Let's go. Yes or a no?
No.
No. Cool. Right. Looks like the game's ready. Let's get into it. It's Cash. We have
Quality
descended
segment.
into madness. It's day 4 here. Lack of sleep, perhaps, but we'll have
Not our
plenty
best
as we
work.
get into the semi-finals tomorrow. Who will be joining the final slot in the semi-finals? Well, we might very well have an answer after this. It's none other than Fnatic and Gambit, and it does look like Gambit are going to have to roll the dice and hopefully not come up snake eyes here on Cash. Let's get into your casting.
Big spat falls.
Thank you very much to the somewhat confused and weird desk. We are ready. Second map here between Fnatic and Gambit, and it's going to be interesting. The desk still convinced that Fnatic will make it through, and it is really hard to come up with the arguments why that wouldn't be the case. So you ready, Samler?
To make that argument? No. To watch Fnatic manhandle Gambit a little bit more? Perhaps.
Well, especially as they're moving into the A bomb side, and Gambit are playing a full retake, which just basically means they're not on the bomb side itself. They're essentially allowing Fnatic to get on here and then hoping they can retake the bomb side from the outside. That's not a completely insane strat, but it does rely on certain things like Flusher being discovered in the middle and not walking in behind Doja. Actually, Crims even steals the kill. Gonna leave Flusher just a little bit salty, but maybe even more so for Gambit now. They're 4 versus 5, trying to see if they can get in here and defuse that bomb somehow. And running around the corner, Mo looking to pick up the early shot, but Dennis and Olaf gonna shut them down. And this retake has already failed. Space to die last, and Fnatic winning the round, no problem at all.
You have to look at all the pieces of the puzzle, and this is a really sick puzzle, Anders. Like, this is one of those ones that takes you like 2 years, but you can see, maybe get the picture right because you look at the box and sheet. It looks very nice when you actually have a full execute that comes out that's very well thought out. Smoke to block off CT, everybody coming out through squeak door, and then they all fell back instantly. As soon as they got the bomb plant, everybody fell back instantly to the perfect anti, like basically to hold the site, the positions for Fnatic rather after the
I'll share something personal with you.
I'm too excited, man. I can't even
I've never completed a puzzle. I don't see the point. It's obviously not mentally challenging in any way.
Yeah, why? When you have it on the box,
It's just wasting your time, basically. To be a silly person to do puzzles.
Every person who makes puzzles in their free time as a hobby now just hates you, Anders. You know, they're like, but Anders, they're...
Yeah, but there are no people like that.
They fulfill something for me, right?
I simply refuse to believe there are any people like that at all. Good grenade on Space, who was already having a hard time in the round, and Olaf gonna pick up one, following up with another one for the Mac 10 there. Do charge in. I mean, it's a good idea for Hooch to try and see if he can get that counter boost working, but Fnatic shutting down this round fairly easily.
And Flusha has just been hanging around over on B side, minding his own business, and he's thinking, well, there's got to be somebody over here that I can wreck, and so that somebody's going to be Doja. And we'll see, Doja is sitting at the back of the site. He's going to spot Crims, but sure enough, Crims robs Flusha this time, but Flusha did get a good bit of damage in on Doja. Gets the assist, and that leaves Adrian alone, 1v5, to try and retake this, or at least hope to pick up a gun. There's the scout there, and an instant headshot on Olafmeister. That was a thing of beauty, but he shouldn't be able to make short work of Dennis, and it certainly will not be the case. Dennis picking up the kill. No saved scout for Adrian, and a 2-0 lead now for Fnatic.
One of those, I mean, if we're looking for the silver lining or the sort of the 1 in a million chance, or whatever you want to call it, right now, they at least gotta try and see if they can get some kills in here. I mean, someone has to spark the motivation on this team. So if it could be someone like Adrian picking up, you know, a triple or a quad in a round like that, you know, like anything, even if they don't win the round, someone has to be the inspiration for this team to move forward. They do have a flashbang on Doja, which makes me excited. They're not going to be able to use it on this side of the map because Fnatic are going to the A-bomb side, but it's still a good idea. And Olaf having a bit of a silly fight, going to be flanked as well, so Olaf is out of it. But the bomb is going to go down, and Fnatic are still in a great position.
They are looking pretty solid at this point with the Mac 10. Unless Flusha decides to bring a knife to a gunfight, that's going to be a bit of a problem. So he gets caught out. But the rest of his teammates, they're ready to just lock down the site. Crim's already out and hunting, looking for a kill. Dennis will be the one who's holding the site itself to make sure that there's no sneaky ninja shenanigans coming through. While Crims continues to bolster his economy with kills with the SMG. I mean, he's got 15 bullets left, and he's going to be able to tap away Doja. That was clean. That was nice. And there's also, I mean, I'm wondering, Anders, we don't burn witches at the stake anymore, do we? Because there's a guy, I don't know who it is, who's watching League of Legends over there on that screen. And I think that guy needs to just get escorted out by security right now, please. Let's not make a scene, but he needs to get out. This is CS, and only CS in this building today. Thank you very much.
Yes, you live in Sweden, so the whole, you know, burning witches could be dangerous territory, I reckon.
Wasn't it like hangings for Odin, though? Isn't that the...
I don't know.
The All-Father, you know, he was getting... That's how he got his offerings.
But no, you are right. That doesn't happen anymore, and luckily so.
For a good reason.
For a good reason. It was not politically a big success, at least after a while. M4A1's all over the place here for Gambit as they do go into their first rifle round, and one of those rounds that's so crucial. Again, we're talking about building something from the ground up here, and it has to start with a big round like this. Flashbang goes in, and it is perfect. We'll get the kill there. Doja gets returned up on the middle, and Adrian picking up a second kill. That's going to make it a 2-for-1 trade, and a really good start. Krims goes down, and a nice shot there. Triple for the Kazakhstanian player, leaving Flusher and Olofmeister.
Well, this is what's going to make the difference for Gambit. If Adrian, one of the key players for Gambit, one of the heavy hitters, can start having rounds like this where there's no predicting it, he's just going to go ham and kill 3 people, that's what's going to actually put Gambit at least in the fight. We're not going to say they're going to win the fight just yet, but that gives them a fighting chance. So, still, a 2-on-4 scenario, 45 seconds left, plenty of time here for Fnatic to try and wait for Gambit to make a mistake. So the nades are going to be going into mid, smoke onto connector, and Olofmeister in position, but look at that, Adrian quad kill so far in the round. That was a thing of beauty. Just shuts down Olofmeister when I thought he was dead.
See if Flusher could do some damage to their economy. He's actually walking into Adrian, who's in the backline there. We could be looking at an ace, which would be a little bit interesting. Acing Fnatic in a quarterfinals. Doesn't happen every day. Flusher going to pick up a kill, walks in, and he goes down to Mo, so not going to quite happen. But still a very respectable round coming out there. And Gambit only losing 2, so their economy is going to be slightly better. Fnatic got a massive bank in JW, but the rest of the team is somewhat poor, so they can put together a buy here, but if they lose the upcoming round, that'll be the end of it.
That will be the end of days, but yeah, you're right. There's that bank. Flusher just has enough for an AK and a flash, so it will work out for him in the end. We're getting a replay now of Adrian. Very clean work from him. That's some solid fundamental CS. The flash into the peek and A main. It's one of the go-to sort of strategies you can have holding on that A site. This is a bit more inspired, but yeah, we're alive with the action now. And already Mo with the early incendiary to block off boost. So they just really want to at least start that pattern now where they're going to start saying to Fnatic, we're going to actually go ahead and invest in nades when we have the money.
And the Molotovs, also the wallbang to get the damage in there as well. Doja will be going down after the quick trade there. So that's a bit of an issue. That's a 4-on-4 now. And the retake going to be coming in for Gambit. Smokes are going up. Hooch is charging through, and the timing, it looked perfect, but he's still going to go down. JW was covering Flusher then. So now it's a 4-on-3 for the retake, and even though it's tricky, I almost feel like they kind of gotta go for it here. Flusher doing a lot of damage, even though the bullets were whizzing it right by his head. And we'll see if they can make this work.
Fnatic making those adjustments. And now, well, it is too hot to handle. Gambit, they've got to back off. They're going to try and hold on to the guns, and that makes perfect sense given the fact that it is the harder site to retake. You're going through choke points. Fnatic have already got the drop on them. They've got the post-plant situation under control. The main thing, though, is that Fnatic, in the round before, they were all spread out looking for duels. Didn't really work out in the end, right? They got whittled down by Adrian. This time they go back to what's worked and what worked on Train as well, which is basically get the death ball together. We're so effective at trading kills. We lose one guy, that's not a problem because the guy right behind him instantly trades the kill, and they're just so good at just rolling onto bomb sites that way as a unit. This is just one fierce killing machine, right? And so Fnatic, we just saw a perfect example of it there in that round. Gather up and just run onto B site and crush the defense, roll right over it.
I wonder what happens in that round if Hooch does get the kill on Flusher, if that somehow sort of changes the outcome. I mean, for one thing, they'd be fighting a 3-on-3 for the retake, right? So I feel like that's just a bit of a shame because the flashbang timing was so perfect. But because they saved the rifles, they can still put together a round, which is important. Fnatic at 4-1. This is a bit of an odd map to try and figure out sort of which side is more favored because we routinely see people have really good T halves and then less good CT halves. So I don't want to draw any big conclusions right now. A bomb in main, and could well be an execute here towards the A-bomb side.
It's looking like it. They do have the man lurking. That's Flusher out towards Garage in mid, so he'll be looking to try and get eyes on the rotators coming in from B and maybe try to apply some pressure on short. That's Moo holding that currently. 3 players alive on this A site, though, for Gambit. So there is a defense that's established. Fnatic are going to have their work cut out for them, especially because space is boosted up on the site, but Olofmeister's going to find Adrian. That's going to start things off strong. Mo will shut down Flusher in mid, and now the push begins.
That wall bang through the door, taking space down to 22, so they're grouped up by the forklift here. A bit of a mind game. You wouldn't be expecting 2 people here necessarily, so if you only spot the 1, you're probably not going to be checking for the next in line, but Tennis with the headshot. Now Mo's allowed to walk back here, but he's actually standing in the fire for a moment. He's also practically alone, and he's going to go down to JW. which will leave Doja coming up highway, 1 versus 3. And a bit of a weird defense being put up by Gambit in this one round. Good shot from Doja, but still another 2 players to take down. It seems unlikely, especially since he's looking the wrong way. Spray coming through, and olofmeister going to pick up the round. 5-1 favoring Fnatic. Not only that, but also closing Gambit's economy entirely. They just don't have any money left.
And I mean, I'm just watching that round, and all I see is nonsensical play, or just an unreal level from Fnatic, right? Any other team, I would say, hey, you're walking into a full stack pretty much on that site. You're going to get shredded. Fnatic find a way. I have no idea how they do it, but they just make it seem so easy where they just actually, we're going to impose our will, and we want this site, we're going to take this site. It doesn't matter how many people you have here, we're still going to win every duel. And then we'll actually just, you know, clutch it out in the end. Just unreal. And this is where it's really going to defeat Gambit. This is what's going to just apply so much pressure to Gambit's mindset that recovery now is almost not an option. Flusha's just mincemeat of them in mid.
Yeah, straight quad kill with the MAC-10. Just like that, will be Crims to take the last kill, and we're at 6-1. It seems like whatever pace, whatever speed they set on Train, they've actually upped it into cash. And I mean, Thorin did point it out fairly well. Maybe Gambit's best map, but it's certainly also maybe also the best for Fnatic. So things are looking really rough right now.
Yeah, Gambit's best chance to take this to a 3rd map and to really get something rolling for them was to win that first map on Train, right? A bit more of a structured map. I mean, Cash certainly has quite a bit of structure. It's a bit more of a tactical map, but Fnatic really, they're at home here. And you can tell, they're just, basically they had one hiccup where they were like, right, okay, we tried to play it slow. Actually, now let's just completely take control of the scenario here. We're not gonna give them any room to breathe. Adrian might get flashed in again, we'll see. Dennis, this time he is protected somewhat, but no, quite, and Adrian again. 2 kills for him. JW this time gets the trade though and shuts down the Kazakhstanian tirade. But it's still a man advantage for Gambit. Solid work from Adrian.
JW trying to guess with the AWP through there. Hooch a little bit worried in the corner, you have to expect. It's a real shame because that smoke that goes up in Squeak was supposed to be there to help Adrian back. I think he was worried that a 3rd man would peek him in main, so he sort of felt forced to go back there. But that is actually sort of a basic mistake that really can't be allowed to happen. Hooch goes down right after they pick up olofmeister, so it's still a 2-on-2. And a minute left. The bomb is going to be planted, and it looks like it's a fairly default plant. They're not in main anyway, so that's not going to hurt them too much. A great shot from Mo. I'm not sure how he got that. And now it's all on Flusha, and look at this. He can actually see it from Squeak Door. Can they stop this Gambit?
They have a smoke, and they now pick up a 2nd smoke on Spades as well. Question is whether he actually has that angle down correctly. He's going to draw attention to himself, let them know that he's holding from this position, and he's just hoping to get the lineup correct. It's not going to happen, though, and it's just, this is not meant to be. He's not going to be able to actually push through here and deny this defuse. It's taking so much time, and Space is now at a 1v1, still holding down on the defuse, though, and it's the longest defuse of his life. Flusha gets revenge in the end. Just annihilates him, and another quad kill for Flusha, and a teabag. But
also surviving on 1 health Flusha after that. Just a little bit ridiculous. But yeah, it's very rare we see those 10-second diffuses, even if the smoke was up. So a little bit interesting. And maybe also shows you why that particular way of holding the afterplant isn't used that often. Because it is so hard to guess exactly where you're shooting at. Regardless, it's around for Gambit, even if they lose every single player, which you can kind of tell the equipment they have that was going to be the case. They just almost have nothing left here. And Doja going down early on to Dennis. It will be also, yeah, it will be traded in by Space. So they have that going for them. But Fnatic just keep going back and forth at this point.
Wait, where was that kill on Mo? Did Mo try and push into Garage? Is that what? Yeah, he did. Interesting. So despite the aggression in B halls, Mo decided to go aggressive in mid, and that actually gave up the small advantage that his team managed to pick up in B halls. He kind of throws that away. Fnatic once again with the man advantage, and of course they're going to extend that lead. And again, olofmeister 2 headshots in mid. Space and Adrian both down, and that leaves Hooch alone now, 1v4. And well, he's just actually looking to give olofmeister a 4th kill, because you know what, Hooch, he looks like a friendly guy. He is a friendly guy. He believes, in spreading the wealth, sharing. He just wants to make olofmeister's day. Said, Olof, I know you've been doubting yourself somewhat, coming back into it. You know what, just die. And it works.
Well, Hooch going down at the end. Dennis picking up a good double kill there. And overall, we are at a 7-2 scoreline, and Fnatic seem to have truly found that sort of horrific form where they just can't be stopped. I don't know what could do it now. You see olofmeister strolling into the middle and hitting nothing but headshots. I don't think Gambit have any way to answer back to this. And I mean, the play that you were talking about with Mo pushing into the middle like that, That's also, I mean, if they were playing sort of an even game with Fnatic, maybe it would make sense to try and sort of risk it a bit. But right now, it smells more of desperation to me.
You wouldn't be far off, you know. Your nose, Anders, it seems to be on point right now, because I get the same sense. And well, now is when you really try and go for some crazy stuff. Gambit boosting on a site and try and see if they can't lock space down. Unfortunately, if Dennis gets control of that part of the map, or if Olofmeister does so, that's where your position, if your space, completely falls apart. Because if you walk up short towards that A site, Olofmeister's going to spot him from a mile away, and the element of surprise will be gone. So we'll see. It comes down to how coordinated Fnatic are when they decide to push onto that A site eventually here, because it's going to be JW and Flusha making their way out from A main.
They are in the right position, and it helps when Flusha shoots JW in the head. More of that is exactly what Gambit need, but I doubt they'll get too much of it. Flusha making up for that by taking out Hooch, and Crim's actually spotting for the boost. A little bit worried that that was going to be the case. Space is flashed in the corner. He's also alone. Seeing one, a second one there, drops the bomb, and now walks right into the headshot. Crims to pick up that kill, making it 8-2. I mean, an interesting round there. At least Gambit managed to fight back a little bit, even if they had some help.
Yeah, they did, definitely. Lady Luck kind of giving Space a wink there at the end, with Crims not spotting him. But it's still 8-2, and it's not looking like it's going to slow down anytime soon, because Gambit, once again, on pistols. And so Fnatic continue to just bring their superior firepower to bear. They're going to have the UMP on Flusha, so we'll see where he decides to hunt for some eco kills. Going to take that UMP straight into B halls. And in the meantime, 3 players once again gathering up towards that A site for Fnatic. And we'll see, it's the boost into mid this time, JW. Might be able to catch the man out. That's Moo hugging the corner there. We'll see if he can actually catch him in the end. But Dennis is going to find the first kill here on Adrian. Moo, this might prompt him to peek in mid. But it's actually the most patient Moo we've ever seen.
Flusha walking in on Doja, was hiding behind the box over at B. And just a complete cleanup round coming in here. Not even a single point of damage being taken by anybody on Fnatic. No bullets touching them. 9-2. This seems to be going only one way, and it's Gambit out of the tournament and Fnatic in the semi-finals. I have no idea how Gambit... They seem out of ideas and frankly confused. I think this is a tactical timeout from Gambit's point of view. It's almost got to be. You see the countdown there, so I imagine they're just trying to see if they could put up a bit of a fight. Unlike on Train, where we could at least sort of theorize about what might have changed the... I don't think it would change the outcome of the map, but it might have made it a slightly better scoreline. I can't even think of one thing right now that Gambit could have sort of held on to in any of these rounds.
You know, that's the issue, and if we really want to get tactical about it, it is in fact a tactical pause here for Gambit. Fnatic's CT side is better than their T side on cash. And so if you think that this is a beast, right? You know, I was talking about Saiyan and Super Saiyan. You know, they kind of like skip the Super Saiyan and go Super Saiyan 3 right off the gates once they get onto that CT side Fnatic. Like there's just no containing them on that CT side. So, right, Gambit, that's the problem for them right now. They're thinking this is the side that we really had to come out ahead on because we knew we had a lot. There's a lot of work ahead of us going into the second half. And right now, Fnatic, I mean, they're just screaming ahead.
Yeah, and the real sort of question is, you know, what is it going to look like in the semifinals? Because I mean, again, the level is somewhat different. The semifinals, regardless of who they face up against, it's probably going to be tough, right? So I feel like maybe they're not quite getting warmed up here today. This is just, you know, quick clock in, clock out, and then that's it. The day's done for them.
What I'm wondering right now is, I mean, Hiko said it in the interview, right? They're going to be going home back to the hotel to watch this match to see who they're going to be facing tomorrow in the semifinals. Right now, Hiko, you know, he's like pulling at his collar a little bit, like, it's a little hot in here, guys. I don't know about this. You're looking at this kind of Fnatic and you are not pleased.
Well, I mean, just to bring that up, this is a point we've made, I think, at multiple events so far, but I think it still holds true. The issue is when you're Fnatic and you're beating a team this badly, you're not even going to have to dig deep to show any of your strats, which means from Liquid's point of view, if they're watching this, all they're going to be thinking is, well, we don't know anything about what Fnatic are really doing because they don't have to show anything. They're just playing default Counter-Strike and hitting headshots. They're not being forced to reveal any of their strats, assuming they had anything sort of, you know, scary planned for any of these maps.
Apart from the pistol, I suppose. I think that's the one thing that we've been able to look at and see, right. That was orchestrated. But We shall see how it develops. I mean, 9-2 right now. Fnatic still pretty far ahead, as we've been saying. Mo gonna go ahead and put some shots through the smoke, and this is a B-split kind of smoke setup for Fnatic. They're gonna cut mid in half with that smoke wall. So that's gonna start getting Gambit guessing a little bit. Hooch, he's sitting at the back of checkered right now, just crossing his, just like clenching his hands together, like, please don't come here. Go towards A.
Doja is playing right on the other side of the smoke. Are they gonna... Could have tried to flash him through. It seems like they want to go for the boost, and Olofmeister's there and looking, and somehow must have seen just a little bit. Takes more damage than he dishes out, so maybe falling back a tiny bit. But this boost is already, they know they're right on the other side. Grenades and even shots raining in. That was very easily read by the Swedish side. Adrian has pushed up into A main, which is interesting. That's a good position to be in. There's a lot of information to be gained from here.
That's fantastic, actually. They go for the same kind of setup Fnatic. They go for the smoked wall. Once again, it's set up in mid. And so Gambit, they just can't get comfortable. They're really wondering, is it going to be an action towards this B side? Olofmeister making his way towards the vents, but in the meantime, that bomb is going through A main towards that A site, and we'll see if they're going to be able to hang in there. Doja catches Flush off guard, and he beats Olofmeister as well. A two-man advantage now for Gambit.
Very good job. Space also helping out, taking out Crims, and a headshot there on JW. He will be going down, worried for a second. Dennis alone in a 1-on-4. He turns it into a 1-on-3, but with just 20 seconds left, it doesn't seem reasonable for him to actually try and win this round. He hits one more headshot, though. A little bit ridiculous. Still 14 seconds. He sprays, but Space will be taking him out for the triple kill. You get worried because it looks so effortless when he gets those headshots, but finally a round for Gambit.
That's a clinch-worthy moment right there. When he's going for that spray at the man by Forklift. After those two crisp, clean shots before, you just can't imagine a world where he'll miss, but it turns out that world exists. And it's a third round on the board for Gambit. They held strong in mid. Doja did magnificent work there. And well, now it's 9-3. Fnatic fully bought. Of course, they have an excellent economy, and so they're not too worried about getting re-equipped for this round. And it looks like Fnatic this time around, they're going to be moving into A main. And Dennis turned backwards because he doesn't want to get flashed by Adrian if he decides to go for it. Instead, he's actually going to go charging straight out into Forklift, straight out into the middle of everything. Mo is going to fall to him. He has no idea what the hell Dennis was doing there.
Yeah, that push happens way too fast for Gambit to really... I mean, they can't reasonably expect that. That is a timing push that is sort of meant to catch you off guard in that way. So that's a pretty good job. Hooch going to be going down to Olofmeister, which will leave us in a 4 versus 3 with Doja over at B, Adrian in the middle, and Space at the A-bomb side. So in other words, they're very far spread apart, and they have no chance to help each other out in case anything goes bad, especially not Doja, which they're all rotating away from right now. Things are getting even worse for Gambit, even if it seemed like that wasn't possible.
Especially because you go for such a curveball, putting Dennis out that quickly, that it's going to force a reaction out of Gambit, and that's all Fnatic are waiting for. Olofmeister ready to pick off Hooch. Now they have the man advantage, and we've seen what they do with the man advantage, Fnatic. They're just terrifying. Doja is waiting over towards B, and he's actually pushed aggressively into B halls, so at least Gambit has some information to go off of. There's going to be a quick rotate coming in from him through mid. So once Fnatic decide to go for this push onto A, they do have to worry a little bit about Doja coming in right behind them, because now Adrian and Space, they know they're going to sit on this site and try and hold the line, but JW not interested.
Space gets one, but it's way too many people in main there for him to deal with. And you are right, if the A defense had held, then Doja's position would have been quite good right now, but with the bomb down, 1 versus 3, I mean, at this point, considering how far behind you are, I'm almost willing to say just try and go for the clutch here again. To build something that would make Gambit sort of competitive in this game, you need some mad round to come out. Doja about to walk into Flusher, who comes out on top in spite of being only on 16 health. That will be 10-3 as we move into the 14th round here, and Fnatic are just on a very fundamental level breaking Gambit apart here.
Especially because Gambit are in a double eco scenario now, right? And that's been the story of this entire half, is that Fnatic, they're just toying with them. They're like, we'll let you win a round so that you then spend all of your money, and so when we win the next round, you're broke again. And that's exactly what's happened 3 times now.
I hope they do eco in the 15th round as well, just to sort of not give Fnatic the satisfaction of beating them with rifles, just saying, can only play against pistols. It won't be as satisfying to win. I feel like it doesn't even matter at this point, does it?
I mean, man, Fnatic have just downloaded this. Look at this. They've been doing nothing but A. Gambit stacked A finally, and what are Fnatic doing? They're just going to head right out onto that B site.
Yeah, and even the stack manages to sort of trade only 2v1 against JW. They do get an AK out of it, so I mean, there's that. A rifle they could try and save, but I'm actually a bit disappointed that Gambit didn't buy sort of 5-7 and armor into this round. I think I would have tried to go for that, because not doing it is almost the same as saying, hey, let's try and see if we can come back from an 11-4, you know, first half.
Exactly.
That doesn't seem reasonable to me.
It's a bit of a stretch. It's a bit of a stretch, but we'll see. Anything is possible in CS. That's the beauty of the game. It's one round at a time, and we'll just ask Liquid, you know. Worst case scenarios, they definitely happen. So, we'll see. Spaze, Adrian, and Mo, they're going to be trying to save this AK. That's the name of the game now for them. If they can actually hold on to this AK, that would be a big win for Gambit, considering how low on economy they are. So having that one-shot headshot potential would be pretty nice. Adrian is going to get spotted, hunted down ruthlessly by Olofmeister. The beast is unleashed and he's hungry, but he's not going to find anything else. So 11-3, and we'll see what kind of a buy Gambit can cobble together here.
Scout, a couple of M4s picked up. They did also save the AK and the FAMAS. So, you know, something to fight back with. This is not the end of the world, but I don't think, you know, the equipment or the grenades or anything else like that is really sort of the main cause, the main concern right now for Gambit. 5 AWPs for Fnatic. I think, I mean, I'm absolutely down with this. Why not try it? If you had any doubts about how much Fnatic are winning here, this is a pretty good indication, ladies and gentlemen. The much sought after and elusive and rare, yeah, Penta AWP buy. Why not?
Why not? And the funny thing is that some of these players, when they were on Star Dragons, they had a history of doing this. When Gambit were ahead, they would disrespect their opponents. And so there's some balance, there's some karma in the world sometimes, right? Anders, I mean, in the end, the pop flash is not effective from Adrian. Oh, what? Get wrecked, Mo! Get out of the server! This is Olofmeister's turf!
How could that even be real? Another pop flash didn't seem to do anything at all. Space taking down JW, so at least there is an even trade going on. And Flusher is the first to, you know, abandon the mission and then pick up an AK instead. A little bit disgraceful in my opinion. Not going to get punished for it though. It seemed like it would have been reasonable if that happened. Flusher gets Adrian killed, and now Space and Doja left. And Doja is alone with a FAMAS in a corner, and they're all coming around. He does see the gun barrel. It doesn't even matter. He's afraid that someone will come in from the other side. Space in the 15th round here, trying to win in a 1-on-4, and he goes down to Olofmeister, who picks up a triple kill. That will be a 12-3 first half finish in favor of Fnatic, with Olof dropping 16 kills and everyone else following close behind.
Just a masterclass, and for those of you saying BM, doesn't matter. You can buy 5 ops, you can buy double op, Scar 20, you can do anything you want. And so Fnatic right now, they gave Gambit a chance, but it's just there's too much going for Fnatic, unfortunately, for Gambit. They have no idea how to handle it.
Look at the great symmetry here on the scoreboard, though. 3 rounds for Fnatic, then the 1 round for Gambit, and that pattern just continues. So that's the most Fnatic ever wanted in a row, was 3 rounds. Then they felt good about that.
It's almost as if it's intentional, right? Like they just, hey, how do we reset their okay, let them win a round.
It wasn't. I want to kill that. I want to kill that logic right now.
Of course.
No one does that ever.
Of course, but that would be some next level. Like, you're so supremely confident that you're just like, right, we'll let him win a rifle so we get him on pistols in the next 2 rounds. Then we just have to, you know, win a rifle again, and then, right? There's a pattern, Anders.
We'll see if the pattern continues when we get back into the second half. It's coming up right after the break. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Second half, second map, final game of the day. It's Gambit and Fnatic, and I mean, I say that, but it really has been just Fnatic, it seems. There's nothing that Gambit can do. They did make it this far. They are, you know, in the Legends ranks, and that already is impressive. I doubt they expected much more out of this tournament, especially when they realized they were going to play Fnatic here. But even though everyone knew it was going to be brutal and one-sided, I feel like Fnatic might have actually outdone themselves on cash here. There was almost no chance that Gambit could do anything. Some scattered rounds here and there, but really, it is all Swedish all the way, it seems.
It is indeed. It shows you the gulf that separates the top of the world from the tier 2, from even the top 10, right? You know, barely making it into the top 10, perhaps Gambit, just nibbling at the edges. Right, Fnatic, they're pretty solidly up at the top, and this is how much work has to go into it before you can even start closing that gap. Fnatic are just giving a live demonstration here. They're kind enough to do so for free at Cologne of just how much work Gambit have ahead of them if they want to come close to challenging the beast that is Fnatic.
Gambit now on the T side. They do have a lot of Glocks and armor here to try and see if they could find a way through. Smoke has gone out. They need to act on it. They're running up highway with 3 members. This is an interesting approach, actually, to a pistol round on the T side. Tragically, they're all going to get headshot, it seems. Flusher in the back line still alive and getting a chance to reload. And they're playing Ring around the Rosie. There it is. Flusher picking up the double kill. And Fnatic winning a pistol round, which, if it wasn't already set in stone, is going to put them 3 rounds away from making it to yet one more semi-finals at a major tournament.
Well, there is one thing there, is that, well, Fnatic have won all the pistol rounds. I was going to say maybe Fnatic, they could have given Gambit some hope, like on Train, let them win a pistol, and then could have, you know, maybe done something just toying with their food, right? Sometimes they do that.
Hope is for the weak.
Hope is eternal, Anders. Spring is eternal. It's just how it happens that Fnatic, they brought a plug today, and that spring is no longer bubbling. Not for Gambit, at least.
Flusher, fairly aggressive, and you have to expect that right now Fnatic no longer really care about anything. I doubt there's any plan or structure going into a round like this. If you're Fnatic, it's just each man for himself to get the most kills on the board. And we even have an auto shotgun on Dennis, and he picked up a kill with it. So why not? Flusher gonna run forward here, and it's a flawless round coming out. You see them jumping and skipping all over the place. They are just in a great spot right now. And 14-3 is the scoreline.
They're ready to just get the job done. They're like, boys, there isn't even a point of you trying to go for a default setup right now, because of course the key for the default is get information, maybe win a duel somewhere. Fnatic are just like, you're not going to win a duel versus us. So what you need to do, and hopefully that's what we see Gambit do here, is group up and YOLO rush some point on the map. As 5, that's your best chance. Clearly in the 1v1 department, it's not working. So you really need to stack your odds against the defense here for Fnatic. And, well, we might be seeing that. 3 coming out from Squeak, 2 from A main, and Gambit not wasting any time at all. JW has been boosted up, though.
Yeah, great run boost in effect there. I really like that. And it seems to be working out perfectly. It couldn't actually come at a better time. Booch will pick up 1 kill. Flusher charging away with the MP9. And they did manage to kill JW eventually. They're quite low on health, and Olofmeister running with the Tech 9, same as it ever was. Some things just stay the same. There is a comfort in that. Not if you're Gambit, but, you know, just knowing that some things in the universe are constant. 19th round is coming up here, and it's 1 more round, and Fnatic are going to be in the semi-finals.
Yeah, there is a constant, and that is just the Fnatic pain train right now that is rolling out. They couldn't afford, well, actually they could, Crims. Crims, you could get an op right now. You could get an op right now, but he's going to stick on the FAMAS, so he's not willing to jump on the train with Olaf and JW. Double op strategy, 3 rifles to back them up. This is a perfectly standard sort of way to approach things here on Cash for Fnatic. And Olofmeister, to start things off, snuffs Adrian over in the Sunroom, in Toxic, in B-Halls. And now it's just Gambit. 4 players left alive here, hoping that they can actually get something out of this second half.
It's hard to imagine what sort of mental state you're in at this point, because in the beginning, obviously, you're trying to summon some courage to get back in, but at this point, you've got to realize it is all over. Flusher jumping through, he does get flashed, but it doesn't matter. He picks up the kill anyway. Now it's Doja and Booch left, and look at JW guessing, and they're going to hit the headshot, and that's going to be the round and the game. Fnatic, yet 1 more semi-finals here for the Swedish team. What an incredible legendary run they're at again, and it's going to get even worse tomorrow in the semi-finals. That's going to be a tough game no matter what.
Another top 4 finish. Exactly what we would expect from this kind of team, from this team itself. I mean, you just have all of these beasts, these monsters, and they're trying to set themselves up to pick up yet another major title. So they've got a shot at it. Liquid are going to be standing in their way tomorrow in the semi-finals. And well, I mean, obviously on the other side of the bracket, it's not going to be much prettier. SK and VP are looking to battle it out there. And yes, they were nice enough to write down Heaton's name there, right? Okay, so it is Heaton actually. But the handshake, Fnatic out of the game, they'll show more respect than they did in the game. So that's correct, that's good.
I mean, definitely, I think they tend to be very respectful, in spite of what some people persistently believe. They're actually very friendly people. But yes, in the server it's very different, an absolutely brutal showing from Fnatic. And that's what you want. You know, we want the best possible semi-finalists. We are going to head it over to what I can only imagine is going to be a brutal form of analysis right after this.
No, this is going to be just us waiting actually for the interview before we send it over to Thorin and his shenanigans. But yeah, look, Fnatic fans, they've traveled from all over the world. They've even got a Swedish flag. And they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. So.
I like the fact that so many Swedes have made it here. I feel like last time in Cologne, they were a little bit underrepresented. I've been running into quite a few of them. All right, well, we are ready, I believe, with the interview.
Thank you very much, yes, Anders, we are ready for the interview. Krims, congratulations, first of all. A very straightforward victory in 2 very straightforward maps. How do you summarize it?
Our game plan worked and we all hit our shots. There's nothing more to say.
It was very straightforward, wasn't it? Do you feel a little bit sorry for Gambit, or are you kind of like, they did well enough to get to the top 8?
I mean, they played really good through the tournament, but we got our confidence back, so it's not easy to beat us.
No, absolutely not. You were a class apart from them today. Was that championship winning form from you guys today, much more so than perhaps the group stage?
Yeah, I mean, it's slowly getting back, and as I said, we're getting our confidence back, so I think it's going to roll.
Liquid in the semi-finals, was that a little bit of a surprise?
Nah, I mean, they're a good team. Everyone can beat anyone, so yeah.
Okay, looking forward to that tomorrow. There's a lot of Swedish fans here today, that's good.
Yeah, they're great.
You want to say a few Swedish words for them?
Tack för alla supporterna, så ni kungar!
Congratulations, well done, Krims. We'll let you go. Thank you very much. Krims, let's go back to the desk.
That's Paul there, unable to hide his bias with that Fnatic orange tie. I don't see that, Paul. I don't see that. Krims, though, he's saying they've found their confidence again, and these results versus Gambit are testament to that. Rather one-sided affair to end our first day. Of course, that does not to say that we will not discuss it with these men to my left. Sanity lost both on the desk and in the crowd, it seems, here at ESL One Cologne.
Oh boy, the last time I saw someone get bent over the knee and spanked as roughly as that, Henry G was out 100 pounds.
Wow.
Sorry, that should.
All right, then.
What stays in the green room?
You're right. You're breaking the forbidden rule. You're breaking the golden rule.
My bad, guys. My bad.
The golden green room rule. Right. Fnatic pick up the win, gents. And I mean, at the end there, we're seeing quadruple or.
Why not? It worked. It worked. May I remind you?
Yes,
That's the new meta.
New meta.
New meta. Yeah.
Fnatic are innovating. Yanko, hey mate.
Yo, what's up?
What have you got for me?
I mean,
any rounds you picked out? Listen, what tactics do you think were the key ones?
You want some analysis on this game, and I give you the round where Olofmeister just gets a kill on Mo through the smoke in connector, and what do you do after that one? I mean,
in the words of Semler, get out of the server, Mo! I think that was his exact words, so yeah, it certainly was intense.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the problem with Fnatic. That depicts them in a way, right? Even if you try to fight them, even if you try your best, there's still going to be moments like those where you can just, you know, take a step away from your keyboard. What am I supposed to do against this? There's nothing, you know. And the game was over at that point. The round itself didn't matter, but that can happen in a really important round, in a reset round where the money is low and so forth. And you could see that Gambit just couldn't hold off Fnatic initially. And
we'll have plenty of time to talk about the Swedes, of course. You can see represented both here in the crowd and in the semi-finals. Dan, let's just focus on Gambit for a moment, because they were, you know, they've retained legendary status. We'll be seeing them at the next major.
Yeah, that's
a lot of time to grow, perhaps.
That is a very positive outlook. I like it. But we'll have to see if they're going to be living up to that, because, of course, when they got to this point, again, in a mere 3-4 months, it's gonna be very hard to level the skill gap, because when you get this deep into the tournament, if you get the legendary stage, it's just supposed to be elevated to the top 8 in the world sort of position. But from what we saw, they couldn't stand up from that skill perspective. They got completely smashed. Fnatic just humiliated them there. And the problem for me is that they can't be comfortable. And I'm struggling to understand whether or not this is going to be a team that comes back and uses the hunger, to really harness their drive and make the progress that they need to actually make to level the difference. And I don't know that they can do that. I'm not necessarily a believer, because you've got a lot of veterans. I mean, it'd be cool to see if they had this situation where they've got a couple very newer players who are quite young and upcoming, who can be grown by the more experienced players. Then I think that's a bit of a different story. But I'm struggling to see where this is going to go for Gambit.
Yeah, the serious analysis of this game is basically that is not actually how good Gambit is. Gambit is a much better team than that. Yeah. And on these maps particularly, they have routine, they know how to play the maps. They could compete with a number of the teams that were in the quarterfinals here and maybe even upset them on maps or take them close. The big problem here was not only were the Fnatic guys on cash, especially obviously very, very good, but Fnatic absolutely demoralized them. That's what you saw there, where someone is beating you and in such a fashion that you have no response to it. And it actually just makes you yourself think, like, what can I even do? Yeah. Like, what should I even do? You almost start to get into that mindset, as you saw at the end when they had the 4 ops of like you don't even want to fight them. You don't want to get humiliated. So at that point in time, when essentially in a game, a virtual war game, you don't want to go with guns and try and kill people, you've sort of lost at that point in time. Sure. You conceded mentally.
I mean, I can't help but feel like, at one point or another, Gambit was sitting there just resisting not rage quitting, resisting not leaving that server. You're sitting there like, this is going to end at one point.
That would be pretty hardcore if you just like, I'm out, see it.
Screw this quarterfinal.
I'm off with the major guys. See you next year.
No doubt, a very demoralizing experience. We're laughing, we're giggling. Of course, commiserations to Gambit. They are knocked out. Will not be seeing the semi-finals.
Light a candle.
Fnatic, however, will be. We'll take this moment as well to talk a little bit about who did secure that spot in the semi-finals before we completely lose our minds. It's been another long day of Counter-Strike. A good one at that, though, so we'll take a moment to look at who has secured those semi-final spots, who we've waved goodbye to. Of course, we started our day way, way back with that Virtus.pro Astralis game. And that 2-0, and I say this sometimes with a pinch of salt, Dan, I can straight up say this with real honesty, 2-0 doesn't tell the whole story of VP Astralis.
Well, Astralis obviously had a medical emergency there on Dupree, so it was already bad enough that they weren't playing with Kirby, because even though Glaive could definitely do a good job adapting very quickly, they only, I think, practiced with him maybe for like 3 days before the tournament, so the expectations for them was just to hold on to legendary status. And so Virtus.pro, it was for the taking, and we know Virtus.pro to be a team that really can perform at these majors. Even if they're slumping like all of the other leagues around that, they'll do some damage in the majors.
Virtus.pro and SK then in the upper brackets, of course, battling versus Flipside. Yanko, you can talk as to the elimination of Flipside. A surprise even to be in the quarterfinals.
Yes, but they definitely earned their spot by beating NIP in a thrilling best-of-3 in the decider game, and they really showed, I mean, to an extent, why they have earned that spot playing against SK. In that second map, they made it really close. The game went into overtime, of course, on the nuke, and they've shown that they have potential. It's just that they were facing the best team in the world right now, and they couldn't do much more than that.
Yeah, and from Flipside, a team that caused one of the most incredible major upsets that we've seen in a very long time, to another. Liquid, of course, picking up that spot in the semi-finals. Duncan, can you a couple of words as to their successes there?
Yeah, well, this was obviously an enormous victory, especially for people like Hiko, like Simple, because these are guys where, okay, they've made deep runs before. They made the semis at the last major, but everyone had the excuses then. Oh, you played the Fnatic who had Olafmeister injured, so you got out the group. Oh, you locked out, you got CLG in the quarterfinals. They got one of the best teams in the world, one of the best lineups of all time in the quarterfinals here. And so, listen, we've always known Simple had a lot of potential, could show it at times, but this was, when you get an opponent like Na'Vi, they're really going to say to you, Simple, what are you made of, my man? And I feel like he really showed them in that game.
Absolutely, he did. Solid work from everyone involved in the Fnatic Gambit game as well. 4 AWPs running around, just taking off heads, and that was the final game you did just witness. If you just joined us, do not fret, do not panic. Yes, the semi-finals come up tomorrow, and we'll be bringing you them in the early afternoon if you are in Europe. But also, all of the games are available on ESL CS YouTube. You can find them instantly uploaded, as well as all those awesome videos that Doran? Just combining the two. Duncan/Thorin has been working on. I don't know if are people aware that you've been doing the script for them? Because they are goosebump worthy. NIP, I think you called Threat a wizard in one of them, Duncan.
I meant to, but unfortunately they showed Pith in that one, so shout out to the production crew.
Yeah.
But the other ones were really good.
They are.
The others were really good.
Not to blow his own
I'd
trumpet.
recommend the Virtus Pro one. It's pretty good.
Check it out. It's all available on ESL CS YouTube. You can find that very easily. While you're checking that out, I also want to quickly remind you about what else is going on. ESL One Cologne is right now, but in a couple of months you have other events to look forward to. We're heading to the Big Apple New York, heading to IEM Oakland as well. Lots of events to look forward to. And as we are about to say our goodbyes, there's one final thing that does have to be done. It's one man's birthday today. I promised I wouldn't, and I said I wouldn't, and he said, please don't, I'll rip various parts of my body off if I do. But happy birthday to Yanko, who spent his birthday talking about Counter-Strike. It's rather appropriate. Yeah, there's still a couple of members here in the crowd.
All right.
Happy birthday to a very happy Yanko.
15 today.
15.
And what a young prodigy he is.
Already retired.
What do you want to be when you grow up, Yanko?
Dan, did you do the song? Can we start? You know, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to our favorite Serbian. Happy birthday to Yanko. Thank you very much, dude. So great to have you on the desk during your birthday. Put in the hours. He is definitely working overtime today, and we're going to be getting a good night's sleep before tomorrow.
Body working overtime, of course.
Here we go then. As always with me, so close yet so far. Let's go ahead and disappear. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. As always, it would be rude not to say it. The Score esports application. Grab it on your smartphone. You know the drill by now. But if you're sitting here wishing that you hadn't missed this broadcast, you can find all of the action on that app, of course, available on iOS and Google Play. They've even got a preview article of Hiko ahead of what's supposedly a game he thinks he can win versus Fnatic. Thank you so much for joining us here at ESL One Cologne. We'll see you tomorrow in the afternoon for the semi-finals as we get one step closer to crowning a major champion. See you then.